Hi guys, you're never gonna believe it, except you can see it. I am outside, which I don't think you've ever seen me outside before, and I am doing some grilling today. I'm gonna grill chicken breast, and I'm gonna show you some great tips, and I'm gonna share a delicious sauce to go with it. So, don't go away. So, the first thing that you're gonna do is, well, the first thing I'm gonna do is make a dressing. It's a lemon vinaigrette. And that's gonna go onto the chicken after it cooks. I don't like to marinate before it cooks because I feel like the oil in the marinade can flare up and that's not so delicious. So I cook my chicken plain with some seasoning and then marinate it afterwards. So that's what's going on here. I'm making a lemon juice. It's a vinaigrette. It's basically the same as any vinaigrette. It's gonna be really herby with some fresh thyme, and it has lemon juice, olive oil, salt, pepper, a little bit of sugar. That's it. It's really, really straightforward and simple. You need a quarter cup of lemon juice. It's a quarter cup. And I am going to just make it, the dressing, right in my container that I'm going to marinate the chicken in afterwards. So this is an enamel dish. Half cup of olive oil. I insisted that I wasn't going to measure, and here I am measuring. I was like, I'm at home. I'm not going to measure. Habits die hard. Oh, come on. Inappropriate. I should have taken the top off. But now it's too late. I'm too deep. I'm in too deep. I have to leave it on because then it would just, I'm sure I would go over. Oh. Okay, fine. That's good enough. It was like literally the entire okay, that can go in here too. A little bit of sugar. Not really sure why we do that. Just to offset the acidity. Salt and pepper. And some pepper flakes. Kind of a good amount. Like, this time I'm taking the top off. About a half a teaspoon. And because we're outside and we have a garden, I'm gonna go pick herbs for this. The recipe calls for fresh thyme. You can use whatever you want. So let's go see what's over there. This is fun. Oh, I feel like I'm on like a, what are those shows called? Oops, reality show. I'm like on a reality show with the camera crew following behind me. All right, so here's thyme. This is fun. And then maybe some lemon thyme. This is the lemon dressing. And we have it, so why not use it? What else is here? A little bit of oregano. Okay. I'm gonna control myself. So that's cool. That's really fun. I'm not used to having a garden, and that was very exciting for me. Grew up, I had a garden. My parents had a garden. We grew tomatoes and all kinds of great stuff. But I live in the city and I've lived there for like 150 years. So I haven't had a garden in ages. And now I'm at Sam's house and she has a garden. And I've been living kind of closer to my brother and he has a garden. And it's great. Oh my God. The tomatoes this year were incredible. My brother's growing tomatoes and he always goes crazy. And he has hundreds of tomatoes. Lemon thyme definitely has a very distinct lemony scent and a slight lemony flavor. And then I'm just also using regular thyme. Okay, I need a tablespoon. This seems like about a tablespoon. Or it will be when I chop it. Rosemary would be nice here. If you wanted a more fall-y kind of flavor, sage would be okay, but don't do too much because I feel like that would be kind of strong. So mix it with something else. You can also add parsley if you want a really green and vibrant and fresh thing. Or you could go a totally different direction and use my personal favorite, cilantro. But I would use like a half a cup of chopped parsley or cilantro if I was using that. So this can just go in with the rest of the ingredients for the dressing. And that's the dressing. Now, the recipe has you make this while the chicken's coming to room temperature, but my chicken I already brought to room temperature. So now I'm just gonna deal with the chicken and my grill is preheating. You want the grill on high to cook chicken breasts. So these are chicken breasts. This can really be for as little or as many as you want. Recipe calls for 8. This is 6. Whatever. It's fine. What you want to do is make your chicken nice and even. I like to cut into the chicken breasts to make them a little bit more even. The recipe doesn't have you do that, but I'm going to do it anyway because that's the way I do it. So I just cut into the thickest part a little bit, just halfway in, and fold it open, just like that. It makes kind of a funny shape, but I find that it's much easier. You don't have to pound it as much to make it even, and I think that that's just better. Make your chicken breasts an even thickness all the way through. So then you cover the top with more plastic, just for cleanup purposes, and then you pound it with something. Today I'm using a rolling pin because that's what we have on hand, and I recommend a rolling pin or a meat tenderizer, which is actually designed to do this, or sometimes at home I use the bottom of a very small cast iron skillet. I have one that's like this big and I use that all the time. So goal, like I said, is to tenderize it slightly and get the whole thing an even thickness of about 1/2 inch. I highly recommend using a French rolling pin. So this is good. Like I said, the importance is thinness and evenness, hot grill so that you can grill quickly and not overcook it, because overcooked means dry, and dry is not delicious. The grill actually looks really great and clean. You just need to oil it. I'm going to use these paper towels. You can use a silicone brush as well. So just a little bit of a brush. You don't want flare-ups. You don't want too much fat. I'm not oiling my chicken, but I am going to season it. Don't forget that the marinade also has salt in it, or the after marinade, so you don't want to overdo it. And then I just salt one side and salt the other side once it's on the grill. And this is really nice and hot. It's not making as much of a noise as I thought it would make, but that also could be because it doesn't have that much oil on it, which is making me want to put more oil on it, but I don't want to put more oil on it because that causes flare-ups and can cause problems. So I just seasoned this side, and then I'll season the other side once I put it on the grill. I am a cautious griller because I feel like I'm not, like, I live in New York City, you know, I don't grill all that much outside. So I always like to do like a test batch. Oh, so nice. Breeze in the trees. I'm in the country, so nice. Grill it until you get some nice grill marks, some nice browning. Like I said, it's not going to make a ton of noise, but look, that's beautiful. That's just browning from the fat on the grates. If you want cross hatches, you can move it. If it's sticking, don't move it. It's not ready to move yet. The great thing about grilling is you'll know when it's ready to move because it will release easily from the grates. Once you start seeing like that nice golden brown and it releases easily from the grates, then you can turn it over. This one must have been the very hottest spot, so that one's ready to turn. The other ones are not ready to turn yet. But you don't, I mean, this is going to be in the video like 12 times. Don't overcook it. You can see that it's almost cooked through really, and the edges are turning white, and it's also starting to like look almost completely opaque. So the second side's going to take a lot less time, and you've got some pretty decent browning on this side. This piece is done. So this one's going to go directly into the marinade. Yum. That's going to be good. If you're concerned about cross-contamination, just make sure that the tips of your tongs get nice and hot before you pick up the finished chicken. Here, I'm going to add more chicken to the grill. Season that second side once it goes onto the grill. It's funny because the grill is really hot. It took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to take for it to brown on the first side, which means the second side's not going to get quite as much browning because I don't, like my concern is not overcooking it and getting it tough. So that's my biggest concern. And you've got some nice flavor build up here with the browning from the first side, so I'm not super duper worried. So chicken should feel firm all around when it's done. You can also use a thermometer, which I recommend if you are in any way nervous about undercooked chicken, but I just press it and make sure that it feels firm, and then just add it to the marinade and turn to coat. And you can eat this hot or cold. It's the best method really for grilling chicken, I think, because you get the best of both worlds. You get plenty of delicious char without any of the flare up that you get when oil goes into the charcoal and then like flares up. It's not just a delicious flavor, it actually gets that sort of like dusty, like grayish color, and that does not taste good, and you will not have that if you use this method. Just make sure, you know, for the best browning, that between each batch, if you're doing it in batches, clean off the grill, just scrape it with your scraper, and then rebrush it with oil, because the oil on the grates is going to help the browning of the chicken. You can use an instant read thermometer. There's absolutely no shame in that. A lot of people do it. I do it all the time at home. And I do recommend that if you are novice at this or you are nervous about this, use one. Definitely use one. I cook my chicken breast to like 155. The ultimate like FDA approved temperature, I think, is like 160, 165, but there will be some carryover cooking. But remember, the smaller and thinner the cut, the less carryover cooking. So with like a big roast beef, that could carry over like 15 degrees once it's off the heat. And this is only going to carry over like maybe 3 to 5 degrees. So while you don't want to overcook it, you don't want to undercook it either. But also, like, don't cut into it to see if it's done. That's the worst thing you could do. If you cut into it, the juices run out. And then any place around the part where you cut into it, that gets dried out if you have to put it back on the grill. So it's my least recommended method for telling if something is done. But, you know, if it's the only thing you have, then sure, go ahead and do it. All the marinade flavors are now soaking into this cooked chicken, and none of it is being cooked off. It's all freshly on there. And then you can spoon more over the top as you're serving it, and the chicken is completely cooked, so you don't have to worry about your marinade being bad. You don't need to bring it to a boil or anything. It's all edible, which is great. Preston, what do you think? Do you think chicken is delicious? I'm at Sam's house, and that's Sam's dog. And Sam is shooting, which is great because I haven't seen Sam in 6 months. Yay! Hi, Sam. Pretty great. It's pretty great. I love seeing people. Chicken. Yep. Last one. It should be juicy, not dry. See, there's some juice in there. It's just cooked through. It is not dry, and you get all the amazing flavors of the marinade because none of it is cooked off. It's all put on there fresh, and it's so delicious. Give this recipe and this technique a try the next time you grill chicken on the grill. If you like recipes like this and you want more, make sure to click like and subscribe because we have plenty more where this came from.